and they demand Jagannath return. Like, doesn't know what's going on in this Vrindavan, this Gundicha temple, and they assault all the guards of Jagannath in the front. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita we can read a little bit how Mahaprabhu, Sarup Damodar, and Srivas Thakur, sorry everybody, they were all watching this event with Hera Panchami. Somehow it's on our calendar today, even though it hasn't been 5 days. Hera Panchami. There's something going on with it's observed tomorrow in Puri, today here, and it's like the 3rd day.
I can never figure it out.
Yeah, but
Gurudev.
We have it on our calendar today, so we'll just hear a little bit about it.
Jaya.
And this whole thing with Lakshmi coming out with her friends and assaulting all the guards in front of Gundicha temple, and Mahaprabhu, Sarup Damodar, and Srivas Thakur are watching this. And it's Srivas that's kind of riling up Sarup Damodar, isn't it? Because Sarup Damodar is a pure Brajabasi, Lalita Devi's, the parallel to Lalita Devi, incarnation of Lalita Saki. And Srivas is in the mood of Narada Muni, and that's more of the Vaikuntha worship. He has that attraction to all the opulence of Vaikuntha, and is, also a Brajavasi. But he's trying to get Sarup Damodar a little bit excited to tell something about the different extraordinary moods and bhavas, it's called that contrary mood of the gopis, getting about the jealous anger and the different types of moods of the devotees. So here in chapter 14, we see here, maybe Maharaj would like to just read it. You're such a good reader.
Okay.
And it's very bright on this. And remember, just touch it.
Chapter 14, performance of the Vrindavan pastimes. Dressing himself as a Vaishnava, Maharaj Prataparudra entered the garden at Balagandi alone and began reciting verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. He then took the opportunity to massage the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord, in his ecstatic love for Krishna, immediately embraced the king and thus bestowed mercy upon him. When there was an offering of prasadam in the garden, Lord Chaitanya also partook of it. After this, when Lord Jagannath's Rath car stopped moving, King Prataparudra called for many elephants to pull it, but they were unsuccessful. Seeing this, Lord Chaitanya began to push the car from behind with his head, and the car began moving. Then the devotees began pulling the car with ropes. Near the Gundicha temple is a place known as Ayutthaya. This place was fixed up for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to rest in. When Lord Jagannath was seated at Sundarachala, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw it as Vrindavan. He performed sporting pastimes in the water of the lake known as Indradyumna. For 9 continuous days during Rath Yatra, the Lord remained at Sundarachala, and on the 5th day, he and Sarup Damodar observed the pastimes of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. During that time, there was much talk about the pastimes of the gopis. When the Rath was again being drawn and the chanting resumed, 2 devotees from Kulinagram, Ramananda Vasu and Satyaraj Khan, were requested to bring silk robes every year for the Rath Yatra ceremony.
Yeah, and we can skip to we can go right to the Lakshmi Vijay.
Could he not find the book?
They were not able to find it. We had chapter 12 the other day, but this is 14.
Oh, I see. Well, it's the same book, I'm sure.
Somehow we couldn't find it.
I think I put it back. You looked over under the picture of Srila Prabhupada?
In the hallway.
Yeah.
Oh, here, that one.
No, I also looked here. I looked here. It's not there. Yeah.
There's another Adilila.
Huh?
There's another Adilila. Different hallway.
Oh. Yeah, there's like 6 Madhya Leelas or something. There's lots of them.
Okay, so Srivas is in the mood of Narada Muni, making jokes and kind of picking on Sarup Damodar. There's a lot about these real types of jealous anger. If you want, we can skip that. And the different gopis, the left wing, the right wing.
Still trying to remember that first mood you were talking about. I know it.
Bham above, right?
And I'm thinking of something else. Or something from Rupa Goswami's descriptions. Is it?
Are you familiar with the Ratra Yatra? Did you go?
Which one?
Ratra Yatra? Did you go?
No, I haven't got a chance. When is it now?
It's finished.
It's finished.
Okay, we can start here.
Text 115. Should I just do the English or should I?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, text 115. Kashi Mishra received Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great respect, and taking the Lord and his associates to a very nice place, he had them seated. After taking a seat, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to hear about a particular mellow of devotional service. Therefore, mildly smiling, he began to question Sarup Damodar. This is Mahaprabhu. Although Lord Jagannath enjoys his pastimes at Dwarkadham and naturally manifests sublime liberality there, once a year he becomes unlimitedly eager to see Vrindavan. Pointing out the neighboring gardens, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all these gardens exactly resemble Vrindavan. Therefore, Lord Jagannath is very eager to see them again. Externally, he gives the excuse that he wants to participate in the Rath Yatra festival, but actually he wants to leave Jagannath Puri to go to Sundarachala, the Gundicha temple, a replica of Vrindavan. The Lord enjoys his pastimes day and night in various flower gardens there. But why does he not take Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, with him? So Damodar replied, my dear Lord, please hear the reason for this. Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, cannot be admitted to the pastimes of Vrindavan. In the pastimes of Vrindavan, the only assistants are the gopis. But for the gopis, no one can attract the mind of Krishna. The Lord said, using the car festival as an excuse, Lord Krishna goes there with Subhadra and Baladev. All the pastimes with the gopis that take place in those gardens are very confidential ecstasies of Lord Krishna. No one knows them. Since there is no fault at all in Krishna's pastimes, why does the goddess Fortune become angry? So Damodar replied, it is the nature of a girl afflicted by love to become immediately angry upon finding the neglect on the part of her lover. While Swarup Damodar and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were talking, the procession of the goddess of fortune came by. She was riding upon a golden palanquin carried by 4 men and bedecked with a variety of jewels. The palanquin was also surrounded by people carrying umbrellas, chamara whisks, and flags, and it was preceded by musicians and dancing girls. The maidservants were carrying water pitchers, chamara whisks, and boxes for betel nuts. They were hundreds of maidservants, all attractively dressed and wearing valuable necklaces. In an angry mood, the goddess of fortune arrived at the main gate of the temple, accompanied by many members of her family, all of whom exhibited uncommon opulence. When the procession arrived, the maidservants of the goddess of fortune began to arrest all the principal servants of Lord Jagannath. The maidservants bound the servants of Jagannath, handcuffed them, and made them fall down at the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune. Indeed, they were all arrested just like thieves who have all their riches taken away. When the servants fell down before the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune, they almost fell unconscious. They were chastised and made the butt of jokes and loose language. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates saw such impudence exhibited by the maidservants of the goddess of fortune, they covered their faces with their hands and began to smile. Swarup Damodar said, there is no egoistic pride like this within the 3 worlds. At least I have never seen it or heard of it. When a woman is neglected and disappointed, out of egoistic pride, she gives up her ornaments and morosely sits on the ground, marking lines on it with her nails. I have heard this kind of pride in Satyabhama, Krishna's proudest queen, and I have also heard of it in the gopis of Vrindavan, who are the reservoirs of all transcendental mellows. But in the case of the goddess of fortune, I see a different kind of pride. She manifests her own opulences and even goes with her soldiers to attack her husband. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, please tell me of the varieties of egoistic pride manifested in Vrindavan. Swarup Damodar replied, the pride of the gopis is like a river flowing with hundreds of tributaries. The characteristics and modes of love are different in different women. Their jealous anger also takes on different varieties and qualities. It is not possible to give a complete statement about the different types of jealous anger manifest in the gopis, but a few principles may serve as an indication. There are 3 types of women experiencing jealous anger: sober women, restless women, and women both restless and sober. Didi, can I hear your voice on this?
You want me to read it?
Yeah, it's on there, yeah.
The restless heroine, however, sometimes chastises her lover with cruel words, sometimes pulls his ear, and sometimes binds him with a flower garland. The heroine, who is a combination of sobriety and restlessness, always jokes with equivocal words.
Equivocal.
Equivocal words. She sometimes praises her lover, sometimes blasphemes him, and sometimes remains indifferent. Heroines may also be classified as captivated, intermediate, and impudent. The captivated heroine does not know very much about the cunning intricacies of jealous anger. The captivated heroine simply covers her face and goes on crying. When she hears sweet words from her lover, she is very satisfied. Both the intermediate and the impudent heroines can be classified as sober, restless, and both sober and restless. All of their characteristics can be further classified in 3 divisions. Some of these heroines are very talkative, some are mild, and some are equipoised. Each heroine, according to her own character, increases Sri Krishna's loving ecstasy. Although some of the gopis are talkative, some mild, and some equipoised, all of them are transcendental and faultless. They please Krishna by their unique characteristics. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt unlimited happiness upon hearing these descriptions, and he again and again requested Sarup Damodar to continue speaking. Damodar Goswami said, Krishna is the master of all transcendental mellows and the taster of all transcendental mellows, and his body is composed of transcendental bliss. Krishna is full of ecstatic love and always subordinate to the love of his devotees. The gopis are very much experienced in pure love and in the dealings of transcendental mellows. There is no flaw or adulteration in the love of the gopis. Therefore, they give Krishna the highest pleasure. Lord Sri Krishna, who is the absolute truth, enjoyed his rasa dance every night during the autumn season. He performed this dance in the moonlight and with full transcendental mellows. He used poetic words and surrounded himself with women who were very much attracted to him. The gopis can be divided into a left wing and a right wing. Both wings induce Krishna to taste transcendental mellows by various manifestations of ecstatic love. Of all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the chief. She is a jewel mine of ecstatic love and the source of all purified transcendental conjugal mellows. Radharani is grown up and her character is equipoised. She's always deeply absorbed in ecstatic love and always feeling in the mood of a left-wing gopi. Because she is a left-wing gopi, her womanly anger is always awakening, but Krishna derives transcendental bliss from her activities. The progress of loving affairs between a young boy and a young girl is by nature crooked, like the movement of a snake. Because of this, 2 types of anger arise between a young boy and girl: anger with a cause and anger without a cause. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these talks, his ocean of transcendental bliss increased. He therefore told Sarup Damodar, "Go on speaking, go on speaking." And thus Sarup Damodar continued. I just wanted to this goes on for a very long time. It's very high. All this pages of jealous anger and gopi bhav, left wing, right wing, but just trying to keep with the Hera Panchami.
Can you remind me what this particular topic came?
How it started? Because it was Hera Panchami day, the 5th day when Lakshmi gets very jealous and anger. She develops much anger because Lord Jagannath said, "I'll be right back." That's her husband. And she says, "Okay, we'll see you in a few days." And she believed he's just going with his sister and brother. It looks very innocent. But after 5 days, she's getting a little suspicious. So many beautiful women in Vrindavan. Radharani's there. What is Jagannath doing? And she gets dressed, and with all her maidservants, she goes and they arrest all the servants of Jagannath and binding them and handcuffing them and throwing them to the ground and demanding Jagannath come back. And Mahaprabhu and Sarup Damodar and Srivas Pandit are watching this, and they're laughing and just seeing Lakshmi just, with her jealous anger. And that's Mahaprabhu is wanting to hear about this in Vrindavan. So he's urging Sarup Damodar to tell about this mood of the different types of loving anger that women experience in ecstatic love. So they're watching this happen from the garden and laughing.
Maybe it's good to recap on the different sequences of the Rath Yatra, because maybe...
Well, we started. You weren't here.
She gave an outline at the beginning.
You already done it.
Yeah, you were not here. Yeah. And then Jagannath says, I'll be right back to Lakshmi. But he didn't come right back. So she got angry.
No, I know, but he goes to
He goes to Gundicha.
Right.
He goes for the Rath Yatra. He wants to see his devotees. He goes to Gundicha, which is significant of being Vrindavan. And he has his pastimes there, like Braja Lila with Radharani and the gopis. And what triggers Lakshmi, she's seeing he's not coming back immediately.
Right. So that's
too many days.
5 days.
Yeah, too many days. It's the 5th day,
Yes.
and he's not back, and she's getting very jealous.
Right.
So this is that day where she goes in her palanquin with the men carrying, and she's dressed to kill, and they assault.
Literally.
Yep. And it's like funny to watch for Mahaprabhu and Sarup Damodar. They're seeing this happen. And Mahaprabhu wants to hear more about it and getting Sarup Damodar to speak. And this is the major part of chapter 14.
Did you know what Hera means? Is there another name for Lakshmi?
Hera. I don't know, Prabhu, do you know? Hera? I know it's also called Lakshmi Vijay. When Lakshmi is victorious. Vijay has 2 names.
Hera sounds like a Greek goddess.
What is he reciting? He's sharing this with Mahaprabhu?
Yeah, he's describing the different types of jealous anger and the nature of the Brajabasis and specifically the gopis and Radharani.
Well, there's different types of women, different types of anger, so many details.
But this is all aprakritha.
Yeah. And it's later, set down and ordered by Rupa and Sanatana, mostly Rupa.
And a lot of intimate details of Radharani and Krishna's exchanges, and sometimes she's crying in a certain way if she's offended, and sometimes she'll smile mildly, admonishing Lord Krishna.
But because of the day, we're making an exception. Normally, we only go to these higher pastimes when it's read in succession. There's a Sanskrit word for that. I always forget it.
Parayana.
Parayana, right. So that's the system, but occasionally on special days we can do this. But not that we go to this and read it and say how nectarine it is or something. That's like not good, because we're ready for reading according to how Kaviraj Goswami presents it in that order, but we're not ready for reading it just randomly.
So skipping, because that would take also a long time to hear, it's a very big part of the chapter. After Swarup Damodar is describing all this at the request of Mahaprabhu, Srivas Thakur, he smiles and told Swarup Damodar, "My dear sir, please hear. Just see how opulent my goddess of fortune is." He's in the mood of Narada Muni, Srivas Thakur. This is Srivas speaking. As far as Vrindavan's opulence is concerned, it consists of a few flowers and twigs, and some minerals from the hills, a few peacock feathers, and the plant known as Gunja. When Jagannath decided to see Vrindavan, he went there, and upon hearing this, the goddess of fortune experienced restlessness and jealousy. She wondered, why did Lord Jagannath give up so much opulence and go to Vrindavan? To make him a laughingstock, the goddess of fortune made arrangements for much decoration. Then the maidservants of the goddess of fortune said to the servants of Jagannath, "Why did your Lord Jagannath abandon the great opulence of the goddess of fortune and, for the sake of a few leaves, fruits, and flowers, go see the flower garden of Srimati Radharani? Your master is so expert at everything, but why does he do such things? Now bring your master before the goddess of fortune." They're threatening the Jagannath servants. In this way, all the maidservants of the goddess of fortune arrested the servants of Jagannath, bound them around the waist, and brought them before the goddess of fortune. When all the maidservants brought Lord Jagannath's servants before the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune, the Lord's servants were fined and forced to submit. All the maidservants began to beat the Rath car with sticks, because the cars wait outside during the visit of Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev. Their carts stop at Gundicha, and the servants carry them into the Gundicha temple. So now Lakshmi and the maidservants begin to hit and try to break the Rath Yatra car. And they treated the servants of Lord Jagannath almost like thieves. Finally, all Lord Jagannath's servants submitted to the goddess of fortune with folded hands, assuring her that they would bring Lord Jagannath before her the very next day. Thus being pacified, the goddess of fortune returned to her apartment. "Just see, my goddess of fortune is opulent beyond all description." Srivas Thakur continued to address Swarup Damodar. "Your gopis are engaged in boiling milk and churning yogurt, but my mistress, the goddess of fortune, sits on a throne made of jewels and gems." Srivas Thakur, who was enjoying in the mood of Narada Muni, thus made jokes. Hearing him, all the personal servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to smile. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told Srivas Thakur, "My dear Srivas, your nature is exactly like that of Narada Muni. The Supreme Personality of Godhead's opulence is having a direct influence upon you. Swarup Damodar is a pure devotee of Vrindavan. He does not even know what opulence is, for he is simply absorbed in pure devotional service." Swarup Damodar then retorted, "My dear Srivas, please hear me with attention. You have forgotten the transcendental opulence of Vrindavan. The nature and the natural opulence of Vrindavan is just like an ocean. The opulence of Dwarka and Vaikuntha is not to be even compared to a drop. Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full of all opulences, and his complete opulences are exhibited only in Vrindavan Dham. Vrindavan Dham is made of transcendental touchstone. Its entire surface is the source of all valuable jewels, and the Chintamani stone is used to decorate the lotus feet of the maidservants of Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a natural forest of desire trees and creepers, and the inhabitants do not want anything but the fruits and flowers of those desire trees. In Vrindavan there are cows that fulfill all desires, Kamadhenus, and their number is unlimited. They graze from forest to forest and deliver only milk. The people, want nothing else. In Vrindavan, the natural speech of the people sounds like music, and their natural motion resembles a dance. The water in Vrindavan is nectar, and the Brahma Jyotir effulgence, which is full of transcendental bliss, is directly perceived there in its form. The gopis, they're also goddesses of fortune, and they surpass the goddess of fortune who abides in Vaikuntha. In Vrindavan, Lord Krishna is always playing his transcendental flute, which is his dear companion. This is some of Brahma Samhita. Shriya Kanda Kanda Parama Purusha Kalpataravo Druma Bhumis Chintamani Ganamaito Yamamritam Kataghanam Natyam Gamanam Api Vamshi Priyashaki Chiranandam Jodi Paramapi Tarasvadyamapi Cha. The damsels of Vrindavan, the gopis, are super goddesses of fortune. The enjoyer of Vrindavan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The trees there are all wish-fulfilling trees, and the land is made of transcendental touchstone. The water is all nectar, the talking is singing, the walking is dancing, and the constant companion of Krishna is his flute. The effulgence of transcendental bliss is experienced everywhere. Therefore, Vrindavan Dham is the only relishable abode. So, Sripad Damodar is quoting these, or maybe it's, do you think it's Kaviraj Goswami quoting this? No, it's Sripad Damodar speaking. He's quoting these verses from Brahma Samhita. Chintamani's charana bhusham angananam Shringara pushpa taravas taravha shuranam Brindhavane brajadhanam nanu kamadhenu Vrindhani cheti shukha sindhur aho vibhuti. The anklets on the damsels of Brajabhumi are made of Chintamani stone. The trees are wish-fulfilling trees, and they produce flowers which the gopis decorate themselves. There are also wish-fulfilling cows, Kamadhenus, which deliver unlimited quantities of milk. These cows constitute the wealth of Vrindavan. Thus, Vrindavan's opulence is blissfully exhibited. So, Srivas Thakur then began to dance in ecstatic love. He vibrated sounds by slapping his armpits with the palms of his hands, and he laughed very loudly.
That's cover boy activity.
Yep. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these discussions about the pure transcendental mellow of Srimati Radharani. Absorbed in transcendental ecstasy, the Lord began to dance. So we can stop reading at this point. And maybe somebody's got some questions, or this always reminds me, Srila Gurudev used to also add his own original description about these Brahma Samhita verses, saying if you go to an apple tree and ask for a mango, it'll give you a mango. They're wish-fulfilling trees, and they're not necessarily only supplying what kind of fruit what kind of tree they are. They can give anything. And he'd describe how much milk and cheese and sweets and delicious things and the simple cowherd society life going on. And sometimes reflecting on his early days with Shilesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada as the first Back to Godhead distributor. And he'd go around Calcutta with Prabhupada's Back to Godhead magazines. But Calcutta's full of Kali worshippers. And he'd come across the Kali worshippers and he'd always have to deal with them, and he'd come back every day and report to Prabhupada, oh, I'm meeting these Kali Bhaktas. What should I do? And they don't want to hear about Krishna. And was it Prabhupada suggesting, just tell them what Kali Loka is like?
What the devotees of Kali receive when they're...
Yeah. What they eat. Their goddess is wearing a garland of human heads. She's living in a cremation ground.
A garden of their heads. I think so.
Her devotees' heads.
Yeah.
The gruesome nature of Kali's abode. And that's, you have to be careful when you worship something, you're going to get a corresponding result taking you in that direction. And is that where you want to go?
How it can be understood, the worshipping of Kali, nowadays?
Yes, it's a worship in the mode of ignorance and passion, and for mundane gain. They want material wealth and material things, and so just involved in demigod worship and Ma, the mother, the supplier of the materialistic things of this material world that she's the warden of, like the prison warden. And she has the power to give wealth and husband and prosperity in the mundane world.
The prisoners bribe her.
Yeah. Keeping the people as prisoners, keeping us, that's her job. But she can supply material things. And the Vaishnavas see her in a spiritual way too, that she is doing that service for Krishna. That's her job. And she can be merciful and help the devotees also. So we don't see her in any derogatory way, but we honor her as doing her service to Krishna and not challenging her or offending her. And when we go on Navadip Dham Parikrama, we always pay our respects to her in Paramatala, Prodamaya. And that's in the very center of Paramatala, the trees. You might have been there. Shiva's there and Paramadevi's there. So our Parikrama group goes there, pays respects, asks for blessings. Please help us serve Krishna and Mahaprabhu. So worship in different modes. Mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness, nirgun.
Gee, I was wondering about the, it says Lakshmi Vijaya. How is she victorious? Her servants are beating the servants of Jagannath, saying, Jagannath, come back. But then Jagannath still stays there for some time, right? How many days? 4 more days or something?
He returns, let's see, it says here, his return day. say on my iCal? Maybe
Return
it's the
Rath Yatra.
Maybe it's the next day.
Oh, is it?
But they assure her, yes,
okay.
you can go back to your quarters and he's coming back.
You win.
Yeah, she won.
Okay.
She got her way. And she couldn't enter. So she's making that big fuss outside the temple.
And is there a deity at Gundicha all year round?
Not that I know. Have you been to Puri?
No.
No? Yeah, I believe it's empty.
Okay.
When they were cleaning at the Gundicha Marjan,
Yeah, it was all open everywhere.
yeah, they were getting the Singhasan ready and throwing water, and you don't hear about a deity being on the Singhasan, getting water all over it.
Didi, you were in Bengal for a long time. Can you give us some light on the difference between Durga and Kali? Why would one worship one and not the other, or are they worshiped both? You know, just at different times, or how does that work?
Well, in Bengal, there's a Durga Puja and a Kali Puja. They're two separate occasions, two separate forms, deities, expansions of the goddess. And you know what Kali looks like with her tongue. That's after the pastime. You probably know it better than me. She steps on.
She defeats Shiva.
Well, I believe Kali is representing Durga. Kali has different avatara, Mahakali, Bhadrakali, Kapalini. So there's a different, it's representing Durga.
But it's slightly different form.
And Rakshasa comes, so goddess Durga, Kali came to fight, that comes, and Shiva is behind it. And when Kali couldn't control by anybody out of control, then Shiva light off on the ground. And when Kali realized Mahaprabhu on the ground like Shiva, then she
stuck her tongue out
and tried to calm herself down, because she was unstoppable, uncontrollable.
Yeah, and that face they make like this, that's when they make some offense. They feel like saying sorry. It's a expression of shame, that when she's biting her tongue. And when you live in Bengal, you see them doing that all the time.
Yeah, in the traditional culture dances, they represent, whenever they represent Kali, they do that kind of.
But even if they say something like a little offensive or rude, they'll go. Have you seen the Bengalis do that? Gurudev did that sometimes. Just saying like, maybe a little naughty or a little, come in.
And Parvati, is it also the same character? Parvati,
Expansions. There's, she's the wife of Shiva also. It's the same, like, I'm not real expert on the goddess expansion.
I think they come from Parvati. Those goddesses that oversee the function of the earth. Yeah.
Yes, avatar, like Vishnu avatar.
Something like that.
It comes, in one you got different stages. They need to represent something. So it comes with different arms.
Yeah. Durga Puja is a big holiday, like Christmas in Calcutta and West Bengal.
It's Navaratras when they do it.
Did you ever observe the Hara Panchami? Or is it just too?
We would just read about it.
Okay.
We'd read about it, and we would not stay in Puri for the return car festival. We don't participate. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas don't join that because we don't want to see Jagannath leave Vrindavan. It's for the higher Vaishnavas, it's very painful.
Yeah, so they probably don't want to see the beating of the servants of Jagannath either.
Well, here Prabhu and
they're laughing. Yeah, okay.
They're watching and laughing.
Criteria, but I think the conservative criteria is Bhav.
Yeah, I think it's the next one, because you can fall from that.
Yeah, like a gradation, like stable Bhav, or the higher aspect of Bhav.
Mahabhav.
Mahabhav, perhaps. Although then Mahabhav and Prem have been described as kind of interchangeable terms.
Yeah.
And then also Guru Maharaj says firmly established in one's Siddha Swarup. That is a safe position.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's surprisingly it's one of the higher levels of devotion where you cannot fall down. You would think like after you get ruchi, you'd be safe, but no. Yeah. So I can find out exactly, but I think we have the idea. Yes.
What is that verse in the Gita where Krishna says, once having come to me, they never return?
Yeah.
But what, he's speaking in terms of direct relationship, I guess. Huh? Seems like that.
So it says here, after Hera Panchami, the next day, Ch.ch, riding on the car, he returned to his own abode. So
she did win.
She won. Yeah.
I think it would be nice if we can all say goodbye to Bhakti Lalita and express our hearts about how we're fortunate to have her here. I'll start.
I can start.
Well, I guess you're the celebrity, so
no, just see everyone and to be here together and spend these 2 weeks and get to see my godbrothers and sisters and our new generation of devotees. And we're all a big family all over the world. Wherever we go and meet our godbrothers and sisters and devotional family, that's our home. We feel at home. It's a place. Seeing his wish fulfilled is very happy, and in such a beautiful way it's been fulfilled. And the servitor group here is so steady and strong. New inspiration. And so nice that this temple is here and Green Street is simultaneously continuing. Both temples going on as best as they can and still fulfilling Gurudev's wish. Some year I haven't gone away, and please be happy with that. I'm still trying, still continuing, and I know I can do better. I'll try to improve.
I think while because I know you try and go on forever, like Avadut Maharaj does. So, I've always known that Bhakti Lalita Didi, who I've known for a long time, huh? I mean, I don't know when I first met you, but a long time ago.
1992.
92, yeah. Oh, I guess because, I didn't go to India for about 5 years after Guru Maharaj departed, yeah. Anyway, so we've known each other for a long time. And I've always kind of understood that Bhakti Lalita was, but, not exactly not exactly clear on how that uniqueness has come about, or how it's like, how it's manifesting. And this time, ladies, that's just generally the case. And so in Bhakti Lalita, we have a personality who's got that kind of determined dedication. And just by being around you, Didi, I get inspired, and I know how you operate. You try to act in such a way so that you inspire everyone. I see it, and it's quite amazing. You're constantly, I can't keep up with you, but you're constantly, thinking how to help this person, how to help that person, how to help that person. And I'm thinking, well, I think like that like once a week or something. She's thinking about it 500 times a day. So anyway, we're just really fortunate, Didi, to have your association. I haven't had your association for a while, huh?
We've never really been like...
Oh, we hung out a little bit in Kiev, but not really.
Kiev,
we rode in the car a few times.
In Santa Barbara.
Oh, yeah, well, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
That was like...
Salt Lake City. I do miss you sometimes.
Yeah, I think you missed me in Salt Lake.
But this 2 weeks was great, because I got to spend that with you and see what a humble Vaishnava you are, and deep humility, and so senior and so mature. Just it's great to see.
Who wants to go next?
Someone like you actually exists.
Lavanya, you want to say something?
Come back, Lily. Come back soon.
Thank you.
We're always happy for your association. And then you always remind us of Gurudev so much, because you're always with him so much.
You all remind me of other days being here with them. Lavanya's just always been so transcendental.
I think we're meant to be glorifying you.
I love how you just roll with everything. Just go with it, good, bad, unfazed by whatever might be happening in the world. You're totally transcendental to it all.
Pandita has something to say.
Next.
Emma.
Pandita.
We're strong.
She's strong.
Yeah,
She's so strong, unfazed, steady.
Who do I look to?
Equipoise.
And who do I look to? To you.
This is you we're describing.
Good example.
No, Gurudev said that the ladies section was his best devotees. So we see it practically.
Actually, Lalita used to collect in Calcutta, and she collected reams of paper and blanks. She'd come up with all unusual things as well, and like whatever was needed for the temple, blankets, and Gurudev would say, "She's so small," and she's so powerful. I'd just go out there marching around. Lady.
Well, I was joined by an army of devotees many times. We go out in big groups and knock on office doors. And
You were amazing going in the office. I went with you and another devotee a few times. And you just walk in the door, straight past the receptionist, straight to the manager's office, in there, and they'd be like, "Oh, madam," and you'd sit down and talk with them and distribute some books, and no one could stop you going into any office ever.
we learned that one from Tridandi Maharaj and Aditi Nandan Prabhu. They're the old pros. I heard about them, so I just was trying that out.
Yeah.
But Bengalis, you just have to feel like they're meant to be Mahaprabhu's devotees. They're supposed to be engaged in Nam Sankirtan. This material world is, is not their place, really. They were born in Gaudadesh. They should be serving and chanting and hearing. So it's always hard to take them seriously on like a material level when they're busy. What do you mean you're busy? Busy doing what? Should be chanting Hare Krishna. Let us in. And a lot of times they'd love it. Be like, yeah, come on in. Stop their whole meeting. Buy our books. Sometimes come and visit the temple. Yeah, I'm just looking at this list here. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivriti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Ashakti, Bhav, and Prema. And I remember Goswami Maharaj saying that even after Ashakti, going into the Bhav levels, you can still fall. That's what we concluded.
Because you haven't fully developed your relationship, right?
Right.
Yeah. You're still looking for relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's not a cheap thing. Not expecting immediate results. And as Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, modest, natural growth is what our natural and normal process would be. To be a little modest in our aspirations and in our daily life and in our practicing life.
Who wants to go next? Lalita?
I'll say that I think every time I look at Lalita and just spend some time with her, I feel like everything she does is so conscious and mindful of everything, but not just generally, but in particular with relation to serving Srila Gurudev and pleasing him, and that is such a powerful thing. And yet, like she's very, very like small and elegant, but so strong. And I find that so inspiring, and she can do anything. And on a personal note, I feel I'm so happy to see you again after so many years, and I hope it won't be too long before we meet again. The time has been too long.
Yes. And on my last visit 7 years ago, you were in America, so it's been really way too long.
Yeah.
Gurudev said when the Vaishnavas are saying something, you know, like, I'm not quite there yet. You can feel that their blessings are coming through, and maybe one day by their grace I'll become that. Because when we speak, when Pandita's speaking, there's some goodwill there, and I take that on my head and feel, may that come true.
Well, we just collectively love you very much.
Love you back. We don't have to. I think we're going beyond
Oh, over time.
time now.
Anybody else want to say anything?
I would like to say,
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said briefly, it's very nice to have someone around who has been such an exemplary servant of Gurudev for so long, and been in his proximity, having seen Gurudev from a perspective, from a disciple's perspective, that is pretty much unique in the mission. And not having Gurudev around, and for many of us, myself, that have not spent so much time with Gurudev, you're like a treasure because you can reflect that intimate aspect of Gurudev accurately and reliably. And you're pretty much singular, unique in that ability. So that is sort of like an immeasurable treasure, an immeasurable living treasure. So it's just so lovely, that aspect. There's many other aspects, but I just want to mention that one.
May these words come true in my entire being. And not that you're not speaking the truth, but I know I've got to live up to these things. A lot of pressure.
I was very happy to meet you, and it's been very nice to have a chance to be around you and hear some of your classes, and I felt like I know you forever, and like I hear like all the devotees all the time say Didi, Didi, like sister, but I really felt like very home and very like relative relationship, like with you. Like a sister, really, and yeah, I hope that in the future you could also come again and share some of your inspiration with us.
Yeah. We're all we are family.
Are you going to go back to Thailand across the Pacific, or are you going to come this way?
I go to Ukraine, then straight to America, then Pacific.
Oh yeah, okay. Too bad. Anybody?
I just have to say thank you for coming, Didi.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's been a great blessing for you to come here, and really inspiring association. And really, I can feel Gurudev's presence as well when you're here. And yes, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I know you're already in the temple and busy. Any chance you could get away, you'd get away and come and join us. Really happy. And hopefully we'll get to see you again and again. More opportunities. And you guys are all welcome to visit us in Thailand. If you ever get a chance, in Singapore is so nearby. There's direct flights, Singapore, Chiang Mai. You might like to see how we're living there and living with Goswami Maharaj and Navadip Maharaj. Madhusudan Maharaj likes it very much there. He comes and spends time. Little bits of, we get nice constant flow of guests coming through, like Janardhan Maharaj, from all over the world, Australians and Americans and Europeans. So,
Didi, thank you so much.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Sri Yukta Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi Ki Jai.
And I'm always available. We have